So, I just had the wildest idea, and I decided to do this as a fun little video, just to knock this out real quick, because it was just kind of gnawing at me, and I was like, you know what? This would be a fun idea that we may probably never get. Why? Because reality sucks. That's the only thing I can imagine. But you'd think it would be, like, this idea would be perfect, and you're probably thinking by the end of it, you're like, why are we not funding this? And that is this is my idea for a new Halloween game. So, we haven't really gotten much in terms of Halloween games in, like, a while, but, like, you'd think this, and when I say it, like, you're gonna think this is all too perfect, and not just for Halloween, but also for, like, other classic horror movies, too. So, my idea for a new Halloween game is in the same vein as Until Dawn and The Quarry. Like the whole choose your fate kind of horror game, and like choosing your fate, choosing your path, and who lives, who dies. But imagine if taking the stuff from Until Dawn and The Quarry and applying that to a horror IP. Like, that would be perfect, right? Like, and I can think of no one better. Well, there is one other IP, I think, horror IP, I think would work better. I think it would work excellent with. But for the sake of it, I'm just going to say Halloween, because A, we have a new Halloween film coming out this year. B, this really works well. And C, I've got a fun story of where you could put this in the new Halloween timeline. So imagine that. Like, let's have it, like, so here's my idea for my pitch for a Halloween game. So this would take place in the timeline between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, which is a 10-year gap, a literal 10-year gap between the two. And essentially what would it be is it would follow a Halloween night, but not in Haddonfield. It would not be in Haddonfield. It would be in a neighboring town that would be like probably like the next town over or something like that, that would know about Haddonfield and the that night. The night not only he came home, but the night he came back. So I would follow a group of survivors, a group of people who would be our survivors or characters you're trying to keep alive as they're being stalked one night by the Shape, who has, like, I would say, like, I would set this maybe 3 years after Halloween Ends, and no one's seen Michael. Like, everyone assumes that Michael died of his injuries. Like, there's no way a dude would survive being burned, shot, stabbed, like, at his age, he had to have died of his wounds. And it's been 3 years, and Haddonfield is still, like, dealing with those scars. But this other town is just like, dude, it was pretty fucked up. Like, there's no way he could survive that kind of punishment. And you'd follow this cast of characters, and you would be the one who would choose who lived and who died. And your opponent would be Michael. Of course, it's the night he came to this town. So I think that would be perfect. I think this would be a fun video game to really, like, explore and apply everything you have with, and I know there's detractors to the game makers of Until Dawn, but, like, the gameplay itself, it's like watching the gameplay and watching how these games play out. You could and yeah, you could say, well, it's not going to be fun if you keep everyone alive and if you don't give Michael some kills. You could do that. First off, you could literally just choose that. But if not, you would still give, like, you could give, like, side characters you don't control the ones to be killed by Michael. And yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Plus, much like how in the new game, The Quarry, you have all these big actors and whatnot in the game. Like David Arquette, you had Lance Henriksen, you had Brenda Song, you had Justice Smith. You had a lot of good actors in here, and I think it would be kind of fun that maybe in this version you could have, like, since we're doing with a new continuity, you could have classic actors from the other movies come back to be in this game. You could have Danielle Harris, well, obviously not playing Jamie, but you could have her play a different character, because she has played a different character when she came back for the Rob Zombie remake. But it'd be kind of, I just would like, first and foremost, to have Danielle Harris back in a Halloween movie. I think it would be a lot of fun to have, what's his name? He played Jamie's son in, I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he played Jamie's son in Halloween H2O. Bring him back. I would even say it'd be kind of fun to have like other actors who played Michael in the game having parts too in the game, like having Nick Castle in a role, or Dick Warlock. Dick Warlock in the game too as a character. That'd be a lot of fun. Like maybe you could have them play sheriffs or something like that. It's just like the possibilities are really like endless of what you could do with here. Now the only other game I could see, like, as for this kind of version of a horror IP you could do this kind of gameplay with and make it work good or if not better, is Scream. Like it literally could work. So like you could apply that to like to like the Scream movies, and you could have it literally be like the choices you make on the phone keep your character alive, or you can have them get killed, or you could like accuse people of who the killer is. You could do that, and if you choose wrong you could get killed or something like that. Like, yeah, the only thing like you could add some new game mechanics with that kind of gameplay and add those new mechanics, and it would still work in a Scream game. As for others, like but again, like this could easily apply to other horror games too. You could do this with Alien. Just have it, instead of summer campers or a bunch of teenagers, it's a bunch of people on a colony being plagued by a xenomorph or xenomorphs. You could have this be like, well, we can't use Jason still because of fucking rights, so I'm being realistic here. You could apply this to Nightmare on Elm Street. Have it that the dream world is kind of fluctuates in and out, and you could have Robert Englund voice Freddy in the game. Have him do mocap. Same thing with Texas Chainsaw. You could have the family in here in the game too. The possibilities are just freaking endless. But like I said, the number one for me would be first and foremost Halloween. But Scream would be the number two for this. And I'm like, why haven't we not done this? Like, seriously, am I the only one who thought about this? Like, applying this kind of gameplay to an actual horror IP? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad because they're not horror IPs. I think we need horror games of different kind, but, like, I'm kind of waiting for the day we get, like, a horror IP with this kind of gameplay, because it just screams, this works, do it. And I'm surprised we haven't done a Halloween game yet, considering all the new hype for Michael. And same with Ghostface. We're getting a new trilogy with Ghostface, with Scream. So there you go. And hell, there's renewed interest in Texas Chainsaw, regardless of the quality of the movie. Anyway, so there you go, guys. Just a random thought I had. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this pitch for a Halloween video game? And what kind of Until Dawn kind of like point and click and choose your fate kind of game could you see applied to with a horror movie? Like, what horror IP could you see get a game in the vein, I rhymed there, of like Until Dawn or The Quarry or like the other little mini games they had? Just comment below, let me know. I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Like I said, this was just a random thought, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. So once again, if you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.